It's been 12 years since I was introduced to a brain-centric approach to health, wellness, and performance. And figured could share some of the things that have changed for me since starting that education in 2014, spending about 4 years going from San Diego to Phoenix and back for work. Learned 32 hours of applied neurology and take it back to work and apply it with everybody that I work with. And then it slowly started integrating into me applying it to myself. And that's what I wanted to kind of talk about today. It's kind of my journey of exploring these things. I've talked about my health history and talked about some things that have immediately changed, rehabbing a calf thing that happened not too long ago. But stringing it together, I think I don't know, hopefully you enjoy it. So 2014 started applied neurology through Z Health Performance Solutions. I'm living in San Diego. The first noticeable, okay, what's going on with this stuff? And you might have watched something else that I consider myself a lifelong learner. I got fortunate to kind of have the what else don't I know mentality be kind of instilled in me early in my career. I can't say I was a crazy curious kid. This really, and I wasn't a good student by the end of it, but just kept going and then stumbled into a life where my work was working with people. Started as a personal trainer into strength and conditioning, into the I don't know what I would consider myself professionally world, into nice neuroathletic performance coach, neuroathletic trainer. That that's what I do. The best day of work for me is working with any person that has a goal that they want to get better at. So we spend our time at whatever that is and do this training to see, oh, that's better. Oh, that's not as good. Oh, that's a lot better. And then give direction for future training, different ways that we can improve and maintain that plastic, maintain a change that is more plastic. So I don't have to do it all the time. I kind of have this is now me. And I've had a lot of those experiences through my own personal journey through learning a brain-centered approach to everything. Um, my exercise science degree was not brain-centric. It was body-centric. Yes, we learned about the brain. Yes, we learned about the nervous system, but it was not in a way that felt important. It felt like the body stuff was the important stuff. Muscles, joints, ligaments, bones, physiology, anatomy, um, chemistry. Like that was my academic career, and even chemistry. It wasn't all body chemistry. As soon as we turned into, hey, you changed this carbon to that carbon, now it turns it into this plastic versus your hair. I was like, I don't care. But I really have always been very curious about humans, specifically myself. We talked about the one place I gravitated towards in school was a anatomy test in fourth or fifth grade, and I did I got it. Like, not a lot of things did I get in school. I didn't get history stuff. I didn't see the really cool timeline that is history. That is something that happened much later. Was like, whoa, oh, you can actually think of this in terms of like people, how long ago, events building on each other. I thought everything in school was memorize the history date, memorize the player involved in that history date, give a little description of what happened at the time. I didn't see the real cool complexity of history and kind of how you can kind of intertwine it with things, and go figure that's how you see a brain in a life of somebody is a brain going through all of these experiences, and they intertwine together to make the person who is in front of you. And that's really fascinating. So school wise, there wasn't a lot. Like, I was interested in humans, I was interested in the human body, I was interested in fundamentally science. One of my favorite science years was like, I think it was sixth and seventh grade. I had a great science teacher that just made it interesting and just made me curious. A lot of it was experiment based, so I was hands on and I was doing stuff. I just wasn't a good book learner. I wasn't. I was the street smart person, not the book smart person. I needed the application. I needed the real life stuff. To sit down and study just wasn't me. And for any kid or a parent of a kid or someone that's struggling with who they are because of their past, if you were one of those kids, the system is what's wrong, not you as a person that just can't sit and follow the rules and regurgitate information. That is a human constructed model, specifically a United States model, and it is ruining some of our most creative people out there. So if you are a ADD kid, ADHD kid, you don't find much of school fascinating at all, you don't want to sit down and read and regurgitate and study and get ready for the test and dump all that information out of your mind to get ready for the next test, I would say you're normal. Like, that is so much more like this sit down and shut up and learn approach to school is, that's how we know we have not been thinking from a brain-centered perspective. Plain and simple. Like, if we thought about how brains work, thought about how brains grow, we wouldn't be in this in the educational world that we're in. Of sit down, shut up, follow the rules, do as you're told. That's a construct. That's not human nature. So go and do what you find fascinating, kid with ADD, ADHD. I bet your ADD, ADHD gets under control if we just find what your brain will gravitate towards. You will be calmer. You will be completely submerged in whatever you're doing. And I bet if we let you do it, you end up doing something really freaking awesome in the world with whatever you're doing, and you're probably going to do something that will provide help and for other people. That's, I can't think of much better. Pursue something you love, be completely submerged in it, and on the other side, when you are gaining ground, you're getting better at things, other people are getting helped by it, win. So that was my experience within school. And again, we're talking about kind of just my journey through this stuff and what some things that have changed over the last 12 years of a brain-centric lifestyle. That's really what developed. Was I think about what my brain and nervous system need as a foundation. I don't think about my body fat. I don't think about my muscle mass. I think about my brain and go, okay, if I were to want to change something like that, what would be the best approach based on how brains are operating? And how brains are operating, I say that very loosely. Like, we are so crazy complex, and the understanding of our neurology is so young. I'm operating with what I've pursued and what I've been given for, like, I'm not that smart. I purchased an education, just like you purchased an undergrad or a private school education, whatever. I purchased an education and I used it. And I continued to digest it. And I thought of things certain ways and read my own stuff and all that kind of stuff to go, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So one of the first changes that I remember from the pre to the post applied neurology brain-centric lifestyle was chronic pain. Like, that's where it started. Chronic pain, shoulder injury, elbow injury, back pain, sleep issues because of all of it, performance issues because of all of it. Can't play my sport anymore, lifting weights. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, absolutely affected by that side. And went, okay, I just kind of normalized it. It's like, I can lift, I can do things, but it is absolutely limited. one of the first courses in Z Health, our phase about rehabilitation of our movement system, re-educate, rehabilitate, something of the sort. You can go to their website. I don't need to tell you all that stuff. Their website is phenomenal now, and you will gather a lot of information. So go. I'm here to tell you about me and my journey. So torn labrum, torn radial ulnar joint. Who knows what was going on with my back? I never got a picture of it. Never felt right. I think we over picture things, over image things, and put way too much value on them. The structural idea is something that should change if we are adopting better and new information that's coming out. We will start to get rattled loose of this. Oh, back problem must be a disc, must be a ligament, must be a muscle, must be spinal stenosis, narrowing, more bone, whatever. Spurs. We got all sorts of names for different sensations and different limitations. So I did not go, hey, let me try these things and let me take care of shoulder problems. This was an exploration. Learn about how we work from a neurologic perspective, get a ton of tools as to how you can change things. The art form is to connect these tools to your health history, what you've experienced, what you're experiencing now. But I wasn't at that point in my career of really using it as, I call it as Dr. Cobb created it. Like, he entered the fitness world with his education model because he was allowed to do what he felt was necessary, not what someone else felt was necessary for him. So that's the medical world. Insurance dictates our how we work with people, not the doctor standing in front of the patient and saying, "What do you need?" If it was the case, we wouldn't have limitations on how long a doctor can see a patient. They have limitations. They are taught to how to spend as little time with someone as possible, because the money in this system is see a client, give them something, they pay for it. See another client, give them something, they pay for it. Another client, see something, pay for it. Over and over. But to really help somebody, you have to get to know them. You have to sit down and go, my initial assessment, it's probably an hour and a half of them just telling me their story. How often are you with your primary care physician for an hour and a half? It's more like 5 minutes, and it takes like 6 months to get in. I don't know. I don't know that world that well anymore, because as soon as I saw the black and white nature of brain-centered versus what we're doing now, I went brain-centered all the way. Like it's game-changing, paradigm shifting. So I'm just learning things. I'm learning new tools. I'm learning different options. I'm learning how to coach better. I'm learning how I'm an athlete in that setting. Every course was essentially pick something you want to improve, something to test and retest. And that's one of the most powerful values of the human nervous system is we can have a direction now. Like, do something, retest what you were doing. Is there an immediate change that we can start going after and start training? So you learn neurology, you will learn applied neurology, you learn how brain structures work, you learn how to assess them, you learn how to train them, and then it is essentially just a practical application, practical seminar to where, hey, let's partner up. What are you doing? What are you working on? For me, I never picked shoulder stuff. I never picked elbow stuff. At that point, I knew I had structural damage. I knew that I had beaten myself up to that point, playing 18 years of goalkeeping, athletics, doing stuff to myself otherwise, skateboarding accidents, whatever. So I just thought that was me. Like, shoulder problem, it's gotten as good as it can. I haven't really found any other solutions. Elbow problem's gotten as good as it can. It's not debilitating anymore, but it's not good. But not debilitating, I'm fine with that. So I never really thought that you could change pain like that, or it's just you just kind of normalize it. Didn't know that you could drive without back problems. Like, a lot of this stuff again was, I didn't know it could be different until I just went through the process of trying to change something. So, hey, we just learned about motor control and how your brain loves complex nonlinear movement. not linear movement. So my whole career to that point, the only complex movement I did was my sport. And then all of the training for my sport was linear. Do bicep curls, tricep extensions, overhead presses, squats, deadlifts of all varieties. Did do some med ball rotational stuff, so there's some nonlinear. Did do some like cable rotation stuff. There's some nonlinear, but I mean, a lot of the cable work was anti-rotation. So the complex nonlinear part was something that I learned at Z Health and went, that's interesting. And like that's actually how we're wired to move. Like our brain says, when it lights up, it will say, let's move in a complex and nonlinear way. It does not light up to say, let's do gym activities. So we went, all right, that was a very fundamental part of Z Health is learn and move better because we are wired evolutionarily to move a lot and really well from a survival perspective. Meaning, if it's life or death, my movement has to be at a sufficient level to make sure life happens. And that's, if you think about humans, that's a very, very big spectrum. Move well. Well, for what context? And context is everything. We could take anything and argue any which way for its positive or negative, but until you put it into an actual context with intention, we could make arguments all day, and we are. We are not getting anywhere in a lot of places, and we're just kind of arguing in a circle. So complex nonlinear movement, we're learning different complex nonlinear movement at every major joint. Ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, elbows, wrists, hands, necks, spines, all that kind of stuff. So we're learning shoulder camshafts. And shoulder camshafts is just an understanding of there is a shoulder complex and then there is a shoulder joint. So yes, you need to be able to move your shoulder joint. You also need to be able to control the movement of your shoulder complex. So I'm learning camshafts. We're learning thoracic glides for the mid-spine. We're learning cervical rotations. And cervical rotations, it's not very complex. You could turn it into a figure eight or a circle, but there is a progression where you start with lines. Once you understand lines, then you start moving into circles, then you start figure eights and infinities. You might find positives, negatives, anywhere within that spectrum. And really, Z Health overall, like, gave me a spectrum way of thinking things. It is not black and white. There are degrees of everything. So the more I can think about stuff being on a spectrum, the more things make sense. So yeah, start with lines. They are movements. We are wired to do them. If we weren't, we wouldn't be able to. So lines are important. I'm not arguing any which way, this versus that or that against this. It's all available. It's all helped brains, including our medical system. I hope no one listens to my stuff and goes, oh, he hates doctors. No, they are so important. Like, they're just being overutilized. And I think they would agree. Why are so many people coming to me for back pain? I need to manage the back that got in a car accident. Like, our medical system is phenomenal at keeping people alive and putting them back together when they physically break. Hey, this arm is hanging by a thread. We can save that and restore its movement. That's phenomenal. Hey, your heart's broken. It's not working well. All signs are saying this is life-threatening. They can fix that. We're in a phenomenal place as a human race. And so I am not discounting, I am not saying don't do. I'm saying there are way more additions that are extremely valuable that we're not adopting into that spectrum yet. We need to. We're just kind of stuck with what we know, and unfortunately I think a big reason why we're stuck is we make so much money on how we see things now. And in America, it is a capitalist economy. Follow the money, you'll find the answers. So why don't we adopt a brain-centric approach? Because our whole model is built on the body and the body breaking. To think prevent with your brain, fix with your brain, no, we're not even close. So again, I'm not in there to say, hey, let me resolve my pain. I'm in Z Health to gather more options to help my clients better. So, but like, it's not like I learned strength and conditioning and didn't lift. It just wasn't intentional. I wasn't aware of why I was using it. So I looked at all of the complex nonlinear movement stuff. Great updates for my warm up before I lift. So it was do Z stuff, then do the stuff I cared about. And so I'm doing camshafts, I'm doing thoracic glides, neck stuff because I'm tight. I'm tight in those ways, and we were taught that there is a level of awareness that you can think about. I can't think about my mid spine at all. Like I couldn't feel it. So I just stumbled upon those three as take homes. Hey, I'm going to start doing these around my lift. Started doing them around my lift. I did both sides. I did bilateral stuff. I didn't have more information from Z Health at that point. And while I was lifting, my shoulder had less of that like just chronic ache. I could extend on like a press or a single leg or a single arm cable press or something like that with a whole lot less discomfort in my elbow. And I went, well, that's new. So that was kind of a initial awareness. It's like, wait, I'm doing something different here, and this is feeling different. And then I remember one morning, it was not a daily practice. I didn't have a movement routine in my mornings, but I was looking out the window. I was, for some reason, thinking about the stuff that I had learned at Z Health recently. And I just did like 3 to 5 cervical movements, focusing on C7, which is a sticky area for a lot of people. So getting it mobile way down at the base of your neck, not just at where we are supposed to be very mobile at C1. Combined with shoulder camshafts, just working on the communication of clavicle, humerus, scapula, and the joints in between, and how they can move together to make complex movements out of the shoulder complex. And I worked on thoracic glides because again, it was super tight, and I was told like Z Health breaks things down to kind of oversimplify so you get started with stuff, but the more you dive in depth, you realize, oh, this is very complex, and you need to know more about people or a person to really select from an unlimited amount of options in front of you. Because as soon as you start combining things, vision work with movement work, vision work, then balance work, then movement work, respiration, then lymphatic drainage, there are literally no end to the options for helping somebody. What gets you in the right direction? Them. What have you done to yourself? What has been done to you? What are some of your worst pains in life? What are some of the worst things that have happened to you in your life? Have you been hospitalized? Whatever. Those are the things that help guide you through the infinite amount of options. So I know I've got a history with a shoulder problem, an elbow problem. I never really dealt with neck stuff, luckily. But I went, okay, history here. It's all local. It's all in the same general area outside of the elbow. But I went, all right. So those were 3 activities that I just kind of started doing, and that one day, I went like I always remembered there was a pop. There was a pop during this guy when I would get into extension. There was a pop when I would go into rotation. And that day I realized, I became aware, it's like my shoulder doesn't hurt. Wait, my shoulder doesn't hurt. That's okay. That's I've been doing these movements for a little while. Has that been always the case? Like, was it just today? I don't know. So that was my first awareness. Like, I could do something and change something. So I went, okay, next morning. Now I start testing it. It's like, all right, internal, external rotation, abduction or adduction, flexion, extension. Okay, that now I know how it feels. 4 or 5 reps. Pop, pop goes away. Pop, pop goes away. Focus on the quality of the movement. Retest everything and go, no way. My shoulder pain's gone again. And that was the start. That was the start of, whoa, we're on to something here. I've been through PT, I've been through chiropractic, I've been with very smart, intelligent people in the strength and conditioning world. I've been with stretch therapists, you name it. Nothing has gotten that before. A little improvement goes away. If you didn't know, there is a classification of patient that chiropractors call the parking lot patient. So they feel better right after the mobilization. By the time they get to the car, the problem is back. That's what most people deal with. Again, everything's on a spectrum at some level. I did something, it came back. It's just a matter of how long. So I started being aware of, man, my shoulder's starting to feel better like throughout the day, not just in the morning after I did that drill. My lifts felt better. And this is the idea, this is the initial starting and understanding of neuroplasticity. I had not deliberately focused on changing my brain before. I did plenty to try and change my body, but that is not the same as trying to change your brain. You can get lucky working with the body to change your brain because everything you do with your body is making your brain active or inhibited. So whether you know it or not, everyone is training a brain. Everyone is working with a brain. Just how are you thinking about it? Are you thinking about it from the brain perspective, or are you only thinking about it from a body perspective? So this is the initial kind of it's like the tiny grain of snow at the top of the mountain that if you just were able to flick it down and it starts to, gravity does its thing, this thing gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That's kind of how I think of starting change. So what happened was, hey, I found something that my brain needed. Much later I learned the neurology around it. I had a left cerebellum deficit. I walked with a left cerebellum gait. Your cerebellum is a big part of making sure all the backside muscles are working for you to maintain really tall posture. I don't know how much I want to go into that stuff because that is straight up what Z Health is. So instead of teaching something that Dr. Cobb is actively teaching today, you could literally go and learn that stuff right now, either from him or probably Carrick Institute on the East Coast, which is the white coat version of what Dr. Cobb created. But you know, they've got the fancy neurologist titles and stuff like that, and they actually do wear lab coats. Last time I checked, or last time I heard. But the initial change was, okay, I actually addressed my midline cerebellum, my intermediate cerebellum with those 3 exercises. And that was enough to drive change into my left cerebellum for my pain to go away. Pain can be created by any input or lack of input or decision-making interpretation problem. Pain's an output. It's created by your brain. So stuff has to go on with your brain to make pain happen. So I addressed a deficiency, a damage. I don't know which one it was. I drank plenty of alcohol to kill Purkinje fibers in my cerebellum. Yes, you're killing your brain every time you take a drink. It's just we got 80 billion neurons up there. So what's another 100 from a Friday night? I don't know the numbers, but that would be the idea. You look at any long-term drinker, are they doing great? No. No, they're not. So we can just look at, oh, here's a lifetime of a brain doing something. How does it end up for the average? Oh, not great. So we know that. And all of our DUI testing is cerebellar testing. We know that it kills fibers in the cerebellum, your coordination will change, your ability to think will change, your posture will change. A lot of stuff going on there. So I started the neuroplastic change for myself. I focused on what my brain needed. I got lucky that I targeted something without knowing it, but that started the process of, well, now that I'm not living with that same chronic, just, it's always there. It's always there when I move. It's always there when I sleep. It's just obnoxious. The elbow was a little bit more about movement. Like if I extended or if I kept it flexed, like I slept like that a long time, tons of pain would come in. But I changed something, and then I went and lived my life, and that change now integrated into everything else that I did. My pressing was less painful, which means my brain's going to plastically change towards less painful pressing. Pressing being overhead, chest press, whatever, bench press. Um, so that was fascinating. It was like, wow, I'm doing these three very focused drills, and I'm getting more than the parking lot change, more than the rehab change or the therapy change, where there's this foundation of it hurts, and I just have things to make it less, but it always comes back to hurt. But oh, I do this, it feels a little bit better, then it's back, and most people just go, well, that's my shoulder, well, that's my hip. I remember early in my career talking to a physical therapist, and I don't know, we were talking about a client or like a hip problem client or whatever. I don't remember exactly what, but he comes out and goes, "Oh yeah, yeah. Typically, the only thing I can do for my hip is I got to lay on a lacrosse ball, have my wife sit on me, and about 15 minutes later of enduring that type of pain, the pain goes away." And so yeah, that's just my hip. And I'm going, aren't you supposed to be fixing people's hips, and that's the best you could do for your own hip? It just fundamentally didn't make sense to me. That, like, why can't you fix yourself if you're here to fix others? Like, are you giving that as guidance to another person with a hip problem? Hey, get a lacrosse ball, put it on the side of pain, have someone sit on you, and deal with it for 15 minutes, and it'll go away. No, I highly doubt that is the guidance that physical therapist is giving someone else. But nope, that's just me. That's my shoulder. That's my hip. That's my back. We just normalize things, especially the longer we go without fixing it. Got to. There's no sense in worrying about a problem that has been consistent long enough that your brain has changed to say, this is my shoulder. Neuroplasticity works both directions. So I can get worse because my brain is wired to change. I can get better because my brain is wired to change. We know this. Think about anything. Addiction, problems that we don't want versus endeavors that we do. Our brain changes to the event. So that was an initial experience in Z Health, was, wow, these three activities, major change. Another change was that Stroop effect. I did a video on it. Angry, irritated, impulsive, emotional control, emotional regulation issues. I had it all. I look back and like I was an insular kid, generally, foundationally. I had gut stuff. I had like just was a different kind of kid. Like insular is internally regulation stuff. There's some balance association aspects. So you might find just kind of a unique or spacey kid, or like for me, like I couldn't stop myself after starting stuff. Like a box of goldfish. Oh, I'll have some goldfish. Box gone. Ooh, I'll watch a TV show. 5 TV shows later. Oh, I'll have a pack of Gushers. 2's better than 1. I kind of was awkward in social situations. I kind of felt weird until I got really comfortable there. Wet the bed later. There's an internal regulation process, micturition center in the frontal lobe, I believe. Another aspect. So I didn't want to be away from mom. I like soccer. I was good. I was a different kid though. I also grew up in the country. The nearest neighbor was a mile and a half away. I was different. Most insular kids are different. They kind of cry easy. They get very happy easy. Their emotions are kind of all over the place. So you add concussions to that, and everything got magnified. So I'm dealing with blinding anger, debilitating depression, uh, tons of anxiety that I just found that, having a few drinks kind of curbs that. And then like the goldfish, now I'm out of control. Once it started, it was very hard to stop anything. So anger, emotional control stuff. I'm in one of the courses, and that was the day that it dawned on me that, oh my God, I've got brain damage. Why have I been in these classes so often and not come to awareness? Awareness is a gift. The healthier your brain is, the more likely you're aware of your own behavior. There's a consciousness to it. The more unhealthy your brain is, the whole lot less consciousness and a whole lot less awareness and a whole lot more habitual nature. So just stuck in a groove. So there's another spectrum that you can talk about. So I play Stroop. I immediately get pissed off. I'm failing. I'm not answering the question right. You can just go download Stroop Effect in the App Store. It's been around for a long time. Psychology test to try to trick the frontal lobe. It does. So I would immediately evoke all the things that I wanted to avoid and went, whoa, that's wild. Kept playing it. That was my first habit. That was my first, hey, I have brain damage, specifically frontal lobe damage. Stroop test is a frontal lobe exercise. I'm going to start daily training. And it took me a year to do that. Like, oh, I need to play Stroop. Oh, yeah, I'll start tomorrow. Oh, today's not a good day. Everything that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves from doing something new. Gretchen Rubin is fantastic. I think it's Rubin. Better Than Before. Phenomenal book if you're interested on behavior change, habit change. And she's awesome. Like, you get her personal story in there mixed in that she shares a story that's not uncommon. So I just did not build the habit, but did not build the behavior to be able to do Stroop Effect. And I'm like, okay, for some reason, again, it's like it hits me in the face, newspaper hit, and it's like, hey, newsflash, you've had this for a year, you're an idiot. Why haven't you done it? And that led to a quick reflection. Like, I didn't really think about my own behavior much before starting. Like, even though I wasn't using Z Health on myself dramatically, just 32 hours of a course, learning, applying, coaching, changed me. Like, we're hitting all sorts of how we work from a brain perspective, whether you need it or not. So I didn't really know that until much later when I would come back and go, I'm different. Like, I feel different, I'm thinking different, I'm moving different. Even the 32-hour course was like just a huge stimulus of brain, get ready to change. We're going to poke at you all these ways and kind of, for me, rattle you loose from your absolute groove. And so I'd come back and like, then that thought happened. It's like, hey, I'm not doing this drill. You want to? Maybe think. And that was one of the first like critical thinking periods that I can really remember. Like, hey, I want to do this. Let me sit here and think about options and how. So learned that in the past, the best way for me to do something was to see it. I wrote it and then I physically saw it later. So I wrote a sticky note, Stroop, put it on the coffee pot. I trying to build new habits, stack them on other habits that you already have. So kind of all this stuff was kind of coming together, and I started playing it daily, and that changed my emotions. I was a less angry person. I was less irritated. I was less anxious, less depressed. Like, okay, that's interesting. Another thing that I remember from early in my career was driving, like 15 minutes in, I'm getting just nondescript, irritating as heck, can't go away back pain, low back pain. It's just so obnoxious. Every time I drive, now I'm squirming in my seat. There was a period where like I put a tennis ball under my butt cheek, just annoying. And it would start to radiate down my leg, and it's just like, oh my God. And I'm at a Z Health course. We're learning about the vestibular system. You've got a vestibulospinal tract, so your inner ear is directly connected to all the muscles that move your spine. And I had learned and realized that I had some dysfunction there. I didn't have a lot of help. Unfortunately, the hierarchy systems took a lot of time for me to get to actually improving, because it just took too many calories. Like I had a lot of head injuries. Advil can screw up your balance system. There's a lot of different things that I had a health history for that was like, yeah, you're going to have some vestibular damage. So take some time to kind of chip away at a brain to get it to a point where it's changeable enough to work on some of these things that are very high order, take a ton of calories, super active. Sometimes those things they're more of a challenge to change and improve. So I had an idea that, all right, I've had a lot of concussion, vestibular system is the most damaged. And then it dawned on me, I was like, well, it answers two questions. Where am I? And where am I going? So I'm like, wait. And another critical thought from connecting things that I was learning went, driving. Driving is a huge vestibular activation. Where I am and where I'm going is constant. Well, not where I am. Where I am is pretty consistent. I'm in a seated car. Where I'm going, though, is constantly changing. Going left, going right, going up, going down, going faster. The desert, relatively nice, though. There were long stretches of just, there you go. So I went, hey, like I've done some balance stuff, and it was just kind of no rhyme or reason to it. I was just learning it, so I was like, oh, might as well do it. But the general approach can get you a little further, but not a lot further. So I'm moving my head. At that point, like Stroop was the cascade for me starting to do stuff daily outside of just warm-ups for a lift. So I am playing with VORs. I am playing with otolith stem, back and forward, side to side, up and down. But it's more of a thought of general training. Well, these things need to work, so let me just do them. It wasn't, again, context is so important. What do you want to get better at? Exactly. That's how your brain works. It works on said principle. We adapt to exactly what we do. So without the what do you want it to do, your brain will go, all right, we just activated the balance system for 10 reps. Move on. So for me, I went, hey, wait, back pain, driving, where I'm going, where I am, stress. I've got a history of road rage. I know that I get into a place where it's not healthy, not safe. I deal with very intense anger. I hate everyone else on the road. Went, So I'm driving to Phoenix, and that thought struck my mind. It's like, oh, there it is. I'm dealing with freaking so obnoxious, annoying back pain. And I sat tall in my seat. I looked straight ahead. No one around me. I am in the middle of nowhere. And I start doing VORs. And my back pain went away. And it never came back. That was crazy. To this day, I was in a job where that I was over a mountain pass, 3 hours and back. No back pain ever. Another job from Portland to Seattle and back, 3 hour drive there. No back pain, no problem. Still had moments of like the irritation, anger, road rage stuff, but like spike gone, which again, in a spectrum of road rage, I'm making a lot of ground there. So that was another whoa experience was, hey, let me move my head in these different ways I learned, and whoa, back pain went away. Another thing that really helped driving, again, in the middle of nowhere, I started wearing pinholes. So the pinhole glasses, I use them all the time. So there they are. Just putting them on, driving, flip them up, keep driving, put them down, keep driving, and I just felt calmer. Like I was less wound up from my driving. I was less emotionally ready to snap. So that was another really great one. A wild one, going to T phase, which is much more of a manual therapy, hands-on scar work, manipulation type of stuff, skull manipulation, everything of the sort. So we're learning it, and we're learning about the sphenoid. Sphenoid became my favorite human bone after that. Go look it up. It's beautiful. And it separates ultimately your face from your brain. Looks like a butterfly. It is so cool. We're learning about the sphenoid and how the sphenoid actually has a joint that separates your face from your skull bones that can be manipulated. So if you had a history of smashing your head into anything, smashing your face against anything, um, could be something that you need to explore. So I didn't really connect any of my own history to it. We're just learning how to tension the body in a certain way to kind of emphasize that area. Quickly, it's just a lengthen. It's a upper cervical flexion. It is a upper cervical rotation, a lateral flexion, and then you just start creating a nod, and you're trying to create a local tension to where that sphenoid is, which is just actually, it's like that. The temple, just back into the hairline, you'll kind of feel a little crease there. So we're learning it. We're not even like partnered up doing something with another person yet. And that's how it all went. Learn, work on each other. Coach, be an athlete, see if it helped you, see if you can coach someone to do these very unique movements. So I'm just following along. Like we're just standing there listening to Dr. Cobb go through this whole thing, showing it on somebody, showing a demo, and I'm playing with it, and I hear a pop, like right under my finger, pop. No joke. Half of my body split me straight down the middle. The left half, I can't feel a spot that didn't, started tingling. Whole half of from my feet, earlobe, top of head, just this tingling and heat. And I went, the great guy was in that, or he was, at the time, he was the 5th strongest bench press in Australia. I've got a soft spot in my heart for Australians just because of the Australians I met within Z Health. This guy is amazing. He was so fun. He made being in the courses more fun. He's a big, burly, strong, freaking individual, and like I'm going through that experience, and he's sitting right here, and like moving, pop. I don't know what my face looked like, but he looked at me and goes, "You all right, mate?" And I went, I don't know. Literally my response. I don't know. I've never experienced half of my body tingling with heat before. So I don't know. I'll let you know. And I didn't really notice anything from it at the time until we were driving back to the Airbnb after the course. And I went, wait, I don't see any starbursts on the car lights. I always see, like, again, I didn't really know that something could change or be different in that regard until it happened. So I'm going, wait, I saw starbursts off of every headlight. So ultimately, there's the frame of the light. I would see light all around the flame. I didn't know that it was even possible to just see a headlight. So I'm seeing headlights, not starburst headlights. And I'm going, what? And then that made me aware of what I was seeing. And then I went, everything is sharper. Like, it's just easier to see right now, and it's dark. Dark sucked. I didn't like driving that much in the dark. I was like over the get me where I need to go emotionally. And it was like everything just seemed easier. like sharper, no head, like I was just calmer. And I went, wow, that's nuts. Go to class the next day and went, Doc, so I did this phenoid thing. This is what happened. What? He goes, yeah, that's like, think about it. If you have a misshapen area here, well, you have extraocular muscles that attach within that area. So if you shifted something, it could easily be tugging on your eye in a different way. And when I have an astigmatism in that eye, he goes, there you go. I went, wait. So you're saying a sphenoid manipulation can change an astigmatism? He goes, it could. And that's honestly, like, that's not a special answer. Everything is, it could. In neurology, you have to test. And obviously, the smarter you can be about what you're applying, why you want to apply it, the more likely you get something. But yeah, the reality is, hey, mobilizing in that way made your eye function better. And that was crazy to me. That was another whoa kind of moment. Other moments, personally. So we talked about chronic shoulder pain, chronic elbow pain. Oh, there was one time, like I'm still actively a strength and conditioning coach. I'm just starting to move somewhere else professionally. I developed just severe elbow pain inside of both elbows. I attributed it to I lifted a lot, I'm gripping a lot. Those are the grip insertion points. I'm pissing muscles off. I might be overusing them. I need to be aware of that. Maybe I'll start using lifting straps, stuff like that. I'm on an airplane going to another Z Health course. I'm studying the information from a different, actually from that same course. It was the second time taking it. Strength. So yes, strength is important, but the gym is not the only way to get it. So this is the neurology of strength, which is fascinating. I loved it, especially since I was in a career of make people stronger. This really opened my eyes to a whole lot of possibility that's not being done. And it made me feel better about not being okay with just kind of, we're the mechanic, we make them stronger, their sport goes and makes them, like their sport coaches make them a better racer. It's like, it felt like it was always one. Like whatever we're doing with them in the gym is going to impact them on the field. Whatever they're doing on the field is going to impact how they're doing, what they're doing in the gym. Like it didn't seem like you could separate the two. So this place was, or strength was yeah, you don't have to feel bad about that feeling. It's like we can get stronger in specific contexts and have a whole lot more profound potential results because of it. So I'm going through reading, and I'm just reading notes that I took from the last strength course, and it was ultimately, hey, sometimes a elbow problem could be a lack of extensor tone problem. I was like, extensor tone. Oh, so like just doing the opposite? I went, well, I've tried doing like extension work into rice. I've done like bands, using like rubber bands for trying to extend, because I was aware that, I'm gripping a lot and a lot of weight. Like I'm putting 45-pound plates on to try to do pull-ups. I'm gripping 400 pounds off the floor with a deadlift, whatever it might be. Like I am really challenging my grip, and then everything in life is grip oriented. We're not extending to use our phones and cook and stuff like that. So I went, oh, well, that seems like a pretty logical thing. What do I know from the Z Health strength perspective on extensors? And there's this thing, it was called Find the Muscle, or assisted contractile mapping. So really understanding where one muscle attaches through its entirety and how it moves, and then practicing and being aware of just that. So I'm like, oh, we learned wrist extensors. So or extensor muscle groups, that would make sense. Let me try it. I'm on the airplane. So I just did one of the. I found the wrist extensor. You can look at a picture. I don't even remember the name at this point, but I found it. I felt it and went, okay, that's where I'm trying to flex. It extends your fingers and it pulls your wrist back. At the same time, it locks your elbow. So I'm practicing this on the flight. There, full length, full contraction, full length, full contraction. Elbow pain's like 70% better. Other side. Nah. Oh, like 90% better. Sick. How can I challenge that? This is just body weight, me moving myself, add resistance. So I'm here and I'm on a flight. I'm here, seated. Luckily, I was in an aisle, no one was walking by, and I just started pushing one finger down, pushing one finger down, while locking out, while focusing on wrist extension. Zero elbow pain. Other side, zero elbow pain. That was a really cool one because, my God, lifting felt so much better without having to deal with just always having pain it was every lift. Like they were sensitive to the tap, not alone just picking weight up. I could do it all, but my God, that did not feel good. So that was a really big one. Other things that I experience, I like, as you can tell, I like to just go. The more I have to plan, the less likely you're even seeing this video. So I did not take a bunch of notes. I have taken my own health history a few times. This is much more from a place where every time I share one of these stories, someone says, "Why are you not telling people this? Why is this not more common? Why are you not out on the soapbox yelling to the world that this is possible?" And it was like, I didn't really see it as that special. It's like anyone could take this education, anyone can pay them, anyone could put this stuff together. I didn't realize that most people weren't. Like this was oh, this is what I'm going to do from now on. There wasn't even a thought. It was, I'm going to learn this. I'm going to work like Dr. Cobb does. This makes sense to me. Like, this answers so many questions from my earlier career. This answers so many questions personally, professionally. This is the right direction for me. So there wasn't a thought that I'm going to stay in a gym, be a strength and conditioning coach, and sprinkle this stuff in. It was, no, I'm going to meet people where they want to be better. You're a golfer and you need to get better at putting. Tell me what country club to meet you at. I'll see you at the putting green. Oh, you're a football player and you want to work on. I've only worked with a handful of football players. One was knee pain. You want to work on knee pain as a football player? Go show me what in your sport creates knee pain. We will train on the football field. Baseball players are fun, especially those that have metrics like a pitcher. It's that speed, or even golf. Ball flight, ball speed, spin rates, swing speed. Those are so fun to work with because this is your swing speed. You warmed it all up. We do something. Oh, your swing speed's faster. You can't lie. It's so cool. So that's what I always was like. That's where I, even in a gym setting, I'm going, how can we make it look a little bit more like their sport? So that's where I like the functional lifting approach to things, even though on a spectrum, it's limited. It's functional within a gym setting. It is certainly not functional for the sport that they're going to play, because that movement looks a whole lot different on an athletic ground than it does in a gym. So, and there's a decision-making piece. You got to see something, interpret something, or sense something, make sense of what that is in your brain. Sports and gyms are very not the same. And I have a feeling if we wanted to improve the efficacy of gym training, add what they're seeing, add decision-making pieces. But every video I see is just athletes staring at the floor, decision made, knock out 6 reps. What if it was a rep when you saw the color on a screen flash to green? Now you're starting to do athletic stuff, not just body stuff in a vacuum. and hoping that it turns into higher level athleticism. There is no, hey, let me just build a foundation here and I'll work on my sport on top of that. It's not that simple. So you actually need to do integrative strength stuff if you play an integrated brain sport. And there isn't one out there that's not. So that's why we love them. It's because they are the ultimate challenge of brain function. So going back to different things that happened, talked about my shoulder, talked about my elbow, talked about the elbow pain. In another video, I talked about vision change. That was insane. Standing 10 feet away from a Snellen chart, seeing 2100, going, oh my God, like I was in contacts and glasses. I needed them for anything that was outside of arm's length, really. I didn't use them all the time, but I definitely was starting to get dependent on them. The big negative was they just created such an intense light sensitivity. I already had a hyperactive brain. That's why I had visual acuity issues. So let's put more light into a hyperactive brain. I could barely go outside without sunglasses on. So putting pinholes on took me to like 2015 vision. Combination of that was a process. This was not 2015 and I'm cruising around with 2015 vision. It's more like 2030 now, but from 2100, I'll take it. And some of the things that were a big impact on that was Brockstring. So Brockstring is a suppression test. Just because both eyes are open and you recognize that you are seeing with both eyes, in the heat of the moment, when it comes down to it, your brain might disregard an image from one of those eyes. So my brain, my right occipital lobe, would ultimately say whatever coming from the left eye at different times. So by doing this drill, it got both of my eyes back online working together. That was a part of improving my vision. I also had a lot of head injuries that changed my fuel supply to my brain. So adding fueling was a huge part of changing my vision more long term. Specifically, I remember that's a good one. But exhales, blocked exhales, long extended exhales, resisted exhales while working on visual acuity. Like I remember seeing it clear up as I was doing it. Here's a wild one. I hated waking up. Waking up was one of the worst activities of my day. I dreaded it going to sleep. When I woke up at night, it was the first concern on my mind. Oh my God, I woke up again. I'm going to be so tired. I got a job to do. I'm not going to do it that well. That would start before going to sleep. I'm not going to be able to fall asleep tonight. I never fall asleep. Tomorrow's going to be miserable. Just created this miserable experience, just packed full of anxiety and just concern. So it had gotten worse. Even when I was younger, in high school I could sleep till 2. And that's just high schoolers. No, that is a high schooler that is dealing with brain damage and he has not resolved it. He does not know how to resolve it. So I started struggling to fall asleep in late elementary school, middle school. Go figure, there were some concussions around there. I got really bad towards the end of high school. It's absolutely miserable by the end of college. I'm missing classes. I don't even care about going to that class. I figured out my own not healthy way to manage going to sleep, staying asleep, trying to wake up. And it's not good. I didn't want to sleep with my significant other because I just knew I wouldn't fall asleep. I knew I wouldn't stay asleep. I knew I wouldn't want to wake up. I had to toss and turn all night, especially when I had the chronic shoulder and elbow issues. It's just, why would you want to sleep next to me? I'm miserable. So I never wanted to, and that sucked. Talk about a life change because of how your brain is functioning. You're not sleeping next to the person you love. That has an impact, had an impact. So then I remember like misery. Like the description of waking up specifically was everything is asleep inside. I know I have to be up. So it was one of those mornings. I know I need to be up. I am all I can think about is going back to sleep. So I don't know what was different about that day. I just laid on the ground. I had learned about diaphragm, the diaphragm and diaphragm stretches, a specific, just big focused exhale to ultimately create mobility of the diaphragm structure. If you didn't know, it's like a parachute, lives on the inside of your rib cage. If you just ride your rib cage all the way around, that's where it attaches. On the inhale, you've got this central tendon in your low back that connects to the diaphragm, and it says your brain goes inhale subconsciously, that central tendon flexes, pulls your diaphragm flat, sucks air into your lungs. Your lungs are passive, so they use partial pressure differences, and they use that central tendon and other musculature to really make the breathing stuff happen. So on the exhale, that parachute, that central tendon releases, it relaxes, and the parachute shoots up, squeezes air out of your lungs. So that's how that works. It feels like it should be opposite. It feels like inhale, exhale, just because of the up feeling and the down feeling, but it's not. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. So diaphragm stretch is just laying on your back, your knees up, your feet flat. You're lengthened out on the floor. You take a deep breath in. You open your mouth. You relax your airway. And you just and keep exhaling and keep exhaling and keep thinking about that diaphragm. Visualize it going up. Doesn't have a lot of sensory information, so you're not going to feel it a ton. But up and up and up and up and up. Keep visualizing, getting air out, getting air out, getting air out. I did 3. I was awake. Nuts. I was dead to the world inside. There was not one thing I would rather think about doing than go back to bed. I could sleep lengthwise with the best of them. It wasn't my sleep quality was so terrible that I needed more time. And then I had an internal regulation issue with the insular cortex. My brain neurologically was not saying eyes are open, awake. I wasn't getting that integration. I was eyes are open, thoughts are starting, asleep. There was no, hey, now you're awake. Insomniacs deal with the opposite. I don't get that internal go to bed feeling. There's a disconnect. Something is wrong there, and it is. So, no joke, like, I hate the world in the morning. I'm dead to the world. I want to go back to sleep. 3 diaphragm stretches. I remember laying there going, I'm awake. I am awake. And I started doing diaphragm stretches every morning for years. 2, 3, 4 years. Now I'm back to them. But there was neurotraining kind of has an ebb and flow vibe, especially if you don't have a coach. I don't have a coach. I need a coach. Everyone needs a coach. But without it, you ride stuff, and then you find other stuff, and that stuff kind of falls away. Then you find new stuff, and that stuff falls away. Then you go, oh yeah, that stuff was helpful. Is it still helpful? Comes back to the surface, and you're just kind of ebbing and flowing because, again, there are so many options. So many things that take no more than 30 seconds to accomplish. You don't need a membership. You don't need a pair of shoes. You just need the habit of do something right now. And the more you practice that habit of do something now, 30 seconds, a minute, 1 set, 2 sets, whatever, the easier and faster it gets to change things on that moment-to-moment perspective. So I am doing diaphragm stretches every day, and what a game changer. I'm awake. I'm not awake until I do diaphragm stretches, so the big challenge was lay on your back on the floor. That was it. If I can lay on my back on the floor and do 3 of these, I will be awake. Now, fast forward, I ebb and flow from I wake up, and I know now if I'm not wanting to wake up, I have work to do. Up, I'm not looking at something right. I am stressed about something in my life. Like it's more of a tell than my reality. So my tell is now, oh, I don't want to wake up. I kind of feel asleep. All right, got some stuff to work on. But now, like it's exponentially better. I can get up at any time that I need to and be productive. What a wild, important change. Um, Anything else around sleep? Falling asleep was a long term, like, I have to chip away and work on a lot of things to fall asleep. Used to be a 3 hour process. Now it's up to 15 minutes or so. Of course, little blips of every once, oh, mind is racing, not falling asleep well, but like on average, 3 hours to 15 minutes, I'll take it. The staying asleep side, part of it was just improving my sleep habits. Of what, like, last time I heard, if you were to put a hierarchy or a spectrum on sleep positions, left side would be best, right side would be second best, back would be third. Don't sleep on your stomach. So I was a back sleeper, and I went, okay, well, why? There's a lot of drainage stuff that happens if you're laying on your left side. Still kind of happens if you're laying on your right side, but it's lymphatic drainage out of your brain. It's kind of how your digestive system works. Like the end of your digestion is in that bottom left quadrant. So just by using gravity, you're actually kind of helping yourself while you sleep. So that makes enough sense for me to try. So I went through the habit of I put a pillow behind me so it wouldn't roll back onto my back. I was aware I'd wake up and I'd be on my back. I'd go back to my left. I would put the pillow on my chest, the pillow between my knees, and get back to it. Some people use tennis balls. They stick them into their waistline so that when they roll onto their back, whoa, I am now laying on a tennis ball. So that was a very big help. Just getting screens out of around bedtime was massive. I used to just, part of my 3 hours was zone out and stare at Netflix before screens on TV, or before TV time availability on your phone. I would just stare at the TV in my room and eventually pass out. So everyone in that I lived with in college probably got really great at listening to like 3 or 4 movie home screens, because those were the days where the movie, you put the DVD in, has the home screen, you select play, extras, whatever, and that home screen had its own little loop of sound, of music, and something happening. So I'd pass out, movie'd be over, and I would wake up, and that home screen is going on loop. So my roommates, the people who lived around me, probably dealt with a whole lot of, oh great, he listened or he watched Lords of Dogtown again. Oh, he finished Entourage, the entire series, another time. So a lot of people have those, and that's not, again, that's to crutch. You could sleep better if you focus on your neurology, if you get an understanding of what needs to be worked on. Another thing that really helps sleep, we're into the big change stuff, like the faster change, but like sleep, if you could fix sleep and change sleep, gift that keeps on giving. Like some people that I know, colleagues, that's where they start. Like, oh, you got a shoulder problem? Tell me how you're sleeping. Because if that's messed up, that foundation can make it so much harder to get any type of change any which way you want, whether it's lose weight, hit a baseball better, or get out of back pain. Like, if your sleep quality sucks and you have bad sleeping behaviors on either end of going to bed and waking, it can make the whole process that much harder. I've got other colleagues that won't talk to you about your left pinky pain until they get an idea of how you eat. Because if we want to change that, we need fuel effort. And if your fuel sucks, losing effort. So I've got some colleagues that's just, no, we will not, I don't care until we focus on your sleep or your eating. So another big thing that helped me with sleep was just taping my mouth shut. I was a mouth breather. I'd wake up with just dry mouth, super shallow breathing. So taping my mouth shut was another big part of it. I'll probably talk about sleep more in depth. We'll move on from that. Other things that happened that were like, woo, aha moments in Z Health. I mean, just the overall ability to think. Reading. Reading is a massive one that got better from Z Health. Z Health is not just do these neurologic drills. It is literally a let's teach you about humans. Behavior modification, behavior change is a part of the curriculum. Nutritional help, support, and behavior is a part of the curriculum. Movement, strength, mobility, flexibility, manual therapy. This is, if it can help a human, put it in there and put it under the idea of how does it change how your brain is functioning. So just the ability to read, like I'm a reader, and before the pandemic I wanted to be a reader. There was so much stuff out there that I just didn't read, but I knew if I could, man, what a powerful resource. Every time you open a page, you could learn something new, you could change your perspective, you could add to something that you already know. That's fascinating. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't read for more than 3 minutes at a time. I would get tired. If I tried to push it, I would just fall asleep. I couldn't remember what I read. I'd just read the same 2 or 3 sentences over and over and over. I would get angry when I read. So like if I was low on fuel, I didn't know that at the time, but it was like, that's why I don't read. I flipped it, like behavior modification and change is a part of Z Health. And I started asking myself a question because the read didn't work for years. I'm going to read. I got a book. I'm going to read that book. It didn't happen. So the approach that I was taking was ultimately these big steps with it, just get there now. I'm not a big step person. I'm a small step person. Knowing things about yourself is going to help you tremendously. And Z Health was a big part of me understanding myself. It's not their stuff. It's Rubin and Halverson. It's this Gretchen Rubin. Actually, that is the Rubin. Gretchen. There are so many books out there. There are so many ways for you to go about behavior modification. You just need to find one that resonates for you. So learning small steps was a huge thing for me. So I went, I want to read a book. Too big of a step. I'd feel dumb if I didn't set a timer for 5 minutes and read and then literally close the book as soon as the timer went off. That's where I started. I got through like a page and a quarter or something like that and went, done. I could have done more. But again, every time I tried to read, I couldn't remember it. I couldn't retain it. I'm getting tired. I'm getting headaches. I'm falling asleep. What's the point? But 5 minutes, I closed that book and went, I could have done more. And that led to me now reading a lot. But it had to start with just that, again, flick that little speck of snow down the mountain and just let it start to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So reading was like, what a gift. I could not read. I could not remember what I read. I didn't read. I searched for keywords and answers to the questions that would be asked on tests in college. There was no read the chapter and deduce what you look like. Give me the outline. Let me find the keywords. Let me answer these questions. Let me memorize enough of those answers to pass this test. That's how I schooled it. There was no conceptual understanding. There was no critical thinking about what I was learning. I thought learning in school was memorize this, pass the test, get ready to memorize the next thing. I didn't see concepts or big pictures or anything like that. So being able to read, what a massive gift from improving, like doing vision training, doing respiratory training, taking a concept of behavior change and saying, instead of I need to read a book, how stupid what would I feel stupid not doing? And that was, I would feel dumb if I didn't set a timer for 5 minutes right now, read for 5 minutes and close the book. And that, again, rarely is it one. It's kind of this like accumulation of different things around yourself that can really help you out. So reading was massive. I don't remember where I was going from the reading component. Just the ability to think. Like I can read something, critically think about it, and it goes into my own interpretation of things, my own understanding of the world. I didn't have an understanding of the world prior to doing the work on my brain rehab and improvement in my own brain function. So the idea of I read something from a neurophysiologist, and that resonated with something that I had heard from a historian. That is so cool that we have that available to us, that we can take ideas from all over the place and compile sounds kind of right, them into my experience, what I understand is, and what I see in the world. It is so cool to actually like develop a filter, develop a organism that can think. Like it's amazing. And I don't know if I would have gotten there. Like, oh, so people develop at their own rates. Maybe I was a late bloomer, but man, to remember how just reactive life was, that's hard for me to get to. I would have just naturally become aware and a critical thinker eventually. Like the amount of little blips of improvement by deliberately doing something doesn't make it feel like that at all. So just the ability to think, the ability to have critical awareness of myself, seeing life more than just the moment, seeing where I came from, seeing where I want to go, seeing what I'm doing currently, changing things to support those efforts. I would have never thought driving to Arizona, learning the overview of 3 courses from this company that doesn't do a good job of marketing themselves, thinking I just signed up and drank the Kool-Aid. This guy must be hired. The demo to start the course, couldn't touch his toes, couldn't even get to his kneecaps, puts his freaking knuckles on the ground after some scar work. When I can't have fathomed that this is where I would be after 12 years of integrating, playing with, learning more, reframing, and ultimately creating a brain-centered path. It has been fascinating. It's not over. It will continue the rest of my life. But those were some big rocks for me that got me to where I am today. I still have plenty to work on. I'm still working on who I am as a person, which is very unique. I think there is a process, and this is where we'll end because that would be a whole nother conversation. I think that to obtain a conscious, aware lifestyle that you're happy with takes a certain mindset. That mindset can be worked on. You can work on how you're thinking about your relationships. You can work on, oh, I'm angry. What can I do about that? I'm impulsive. What can I do about that? Am I seeing people in good light? Am I seeing them in a negative light? Am I in negative thought loops? Do I have the ability to feel and think about gratitude? All of that is mindful stuff, mind stuff. We go to psychologists to help us with that. We take drugs to help us with that. Here's the caveat though. There's a foundation, and that foundation is your brain function. So the reality of what we can do in today's world, we can improve your brain function. That will give you the ability to improve and change and adjust your mind to be wherever you want it to be, to support the conscious, aware lifestyle that you live. Digest that, think about it. We'll talk about that at a later date. But the foundational overview of that is improve your brain so that you can improve your mind so that you improve your reality. Whoa! See ya.